all. We are back with a great Super Sunday episode. Johnny, good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, dude. There's so much to talk about. It feels like it's literally been like 3 years since we've done this.
So much to talk about, but we will condense it. I think we're going to start with some NBA trade deadline action. You got the Luka giveaway, and then you have, the Cavs getting DeAndre Hunter. We'll talk about, Myles Garrett, and we'll talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. So, missing a topic?
Should I just go right into it?
No. We got an NBA trade deadline. I've been over here for the last couple of hours, and you have been chomping at the bit to talk about this. How do you really feel about the Luka trade?
So, this is the most hype. Like, first off, I really need to reevaluate myself because, the fact that I care this much about a trade that neither of my teams that are involved in it is absurd.
Sure you're not a secret LeBron fan?
I'm
okay.
Positive. But anyway, so if it wasn't for Deshaun Watson being literally the worst trade in the history of sports,
trades, yeah,
I would be even more aggressive about this. I just can't see the positive. So I'm gonna shoot down every single retort to it to start off. Okay.
So let's recap the trade first.
Go ahead.
Luka, Max Christie, and I think a 2028 29 first round pick.
So Luka's prime.
Yes, we know how you feel.
Okay.
Going to LA for Anthony Davis. Or no, it's Luka, Max Christie going to LA.
Yep. And then you got
No, sorry. It's Luka and Keebler going to LA for the 29 pick, Anthony Davis and Max Christie.
Yeah, but it's the 29 pick for a swap of Luka and AD at the end of the day, right?
Essentially,
that's what it is. Okay, so there's so many things about it. So first off, even if Nico and AD are best friends, even if Luka's the worst human being on earth and you know that you don't want him, even if you think you got ahead of the table, all that stuff, you could just compare it to the Paul George trade. You can compare it to the Kevin Durant trade. You could compare it to any trade with a superstar ever at any age, and they're getting 1/5 to 1/10 of the value.
And for our viewers, let's take a quick recap of what those trades were.
Go ahead,
and for the Paul George trade, it was SGA, Trey Mann, Jalen Williams, a swap in 23 and 25, and a 2024 first-round pick, and a 2026 first-round pick as well, and also a 2025 pick via the Miami Heat. The KD trade, Mikal Bridges, Cameron Johnson, 4 firsts, and a 28 swap. And on top of that, because they got Bridges in the trade, Brooklyn was able to trade him to the Knicks and get additional first-round picks. So, if you're talking in terms of draft capital and young talent,
how old was Durant?
Oh, he was 34.
Okay, and then so Luka's 25. Luka's, I believe 1,000% that he was going to sign the Supermax, be there forever. To me, the only way that you can justify any of this is
if he would have said, "I'm not staying."
If he says I'm not, but even if he did that, I think that you get more. That's what I'm saying is there's no justifying it to me. No matter how you look at it.
Rob Pelinka was saying about how he wanted to build trust with Nico in Dallas by saying we're going to be the only teams talking about this. Yeah, of course you want to be the only teams
there's so much
this.
And he knew he's talking on a podium we knew that to get this done we had to keep it between us. No, you knew that, but Nico in his mind let me address one of the other things that make me mad is when people are well, I'm sure you know more than what's going on inside and being an NBA GM and stuff like that. As if anybody in any position of power doesn't make mistakes every day in life. Nico, we traded Brunson, traded Porzingis. You had a 3-headed monster, right? And so those are gone now. You go to the finals. AD's your friend from Team USA, whatever. That's your justification. The big thing everybody keeps saying is, well, Dallas is dangerous and they have a chance to win now. A better chance to win now. They're better defensively. Cool,
they are better defensively.
It doesn't make them a better team. You don't have that guy I know Kyrie's on the roster, but when it's a 2-minute game, how many times has Luka before the age of 25 from the bubble? I remember him hitting game winners against the Clippers. He has come in clutch at those huge moments of every game.
Do you think they're better because, and this is one thing the NBA is starting to shift to because of what the Cavs are doing, having 2 legit bigs on the floor.
Nico said it.
Now you have Gafford, you have Davis.
You have Lively.
And you have Lively. You got 3 good bigs on your team.
Yeah, sweet. But, like, guess who's better than all of them? Jokic. So it doesn't matter. Like, you're still going to run into these teams. Like, the only way you justify it is if you're Dallas is you literally win a championship in the next 2 years.
You have to. That's it.
And I think that they are worse today than they were a week ago.
Especially since this team made the finals.
They literally made the finals on his back.
Which you predicted.
With 2 injections into his knee or whatever it was. Like, yeah, like, I mean, there's a
20 honey buns in the stomach.
But that's what they keep. They act like he's. Do you remember Rikishi from WWE? They act like that's what he looks like. Like he is. Like if he's out of shape, like please, I'll take all of the out of shape Lukas in NBA history. To me, the goal is you like pray for 20 years to get somebody who is good enough to want to give the supermax to.
Right.
You get one, and then you deal him by approaching another team, having a cup of coffee, them literally saying, "Would you ever?" And you're like, "I don't know, would I ever?" You are being aggressive about the fact that you did not go to any other teams and see what it was about. It's criminal. Like, if I'm a Dallas fan, like, how do you continue to be a Dallas fan? Like, actually.
How do we continue to be Browns fans? There's a whole,
but that's
we can
like
do a whole episode on that.
For sure.
I do think for Dallas, you at least get the ball in Kyrie's hands a little bit more, which isn't a bad thing. But I agree with you. This trade is awful. And it just, the league handing another superstar to the LA Lakers for them to have their transition plan when LeBron eventually retires.
Did you see who dropped 45 points?
Austin Reeves, yeah.
How do you not get Austin Reeves? Like, how do you not get anything, though? Like, why is it Max Christie, AD, in a first? Like, how in any, like, trade analyzer calculator can you justify that? Like, anybody. I don't have an answer. So, like, to me, it's literally just the worst trade it could possibly be. I know we're going to go over all the other trades, but at least they make sense. There's relevance. Even if you're like, there's a winner and a loser here, it makes sense for that team. For Dallas, this makes no sense. You get worse now. You get worse later. You could talk all you want about we don't know what's going on inside the organization or what it led to or how they really feel about him. I know how the other 29 teams feel about him. So, like, I don't care. Like, you literally are openly saying how awful, like, you approach the situation by, you know, seeking out Pelinka and only talking to him and your reasonings. And honestly, we didn't even talk about the fact that, like, Jason Kidd clearly was, like, stunned by it.
Yeah.
Like, he's in this post-game presser, and you would think that, like, your head coach knows, and he looked like a ghost.
Oh, yeah, he was like, I don't know. I found out what you all did.
He was like, Jason's really supportive. Like, he's supportive in everything we do. He's like, we always talk about the complexion of our team, and you could, in my mind, Jason Kidd's like, I didn't say trade Luka, bro. Like, I said do anything else.
Yeah, he's
like,
losing complexion while he's talking about it.
Yeah. And then we scored 50 on him in the first quarter the next night. So, but, yeah, I mean, I could talk about it until I'm blue in the face. I think the Lakers become a legit, this is where a lot of people disagree with me. I think they become a legit contender. We could go right.
You put them in there. That, like, the one thing I see with the Lakers, the other trade they did for Mark Williams got rescinded.
Right.
Probably due to some, medical type issue or disclosure or lack of disclosure by the Hornets of a medical type issue. With Mark Williams, I would have agreed with you. I would have said they have some size. LeBron and Luka get to play off each other. You have Austin Reeves. A little worried about how small they are. Because think about it, you got to go up against the Thunder. Holmgren's back.
And you basically just have Jackson Hayes. That's like it.
Jokic. Yeah. That's small.
Yeah.
They could try to do a super small lineup and put LeBron at the 5.
So
just try to run.
There's a difference between, I think they're the favorite or I think they're a contender. So, to me, I think that they are capable of beating all but 2 teams in the West.
And those 2 teams were the Thunder and Nuggets?
Yeah. So, to me, I'm like, you always have a chance because you have LeBron and Luka. So that's where I put them. If I see them in a series against Minnesota, I can see them taking that series. I can see them.
Minnesota hasn't looked good this year.
There's a lot of that. Like the West is just a little weird, but at the end of the day, your superstar power alone, if they can find a way to, fight on the glass and stuff like that, I do think OKC and Denver are too much. But again, Mark Williams is really goofy, uncoordinated type big, but he's perfect for that.
He was averaging 18 points a game over his last 10 games.
And all on basically lobs and athletic finishes, which fit them perfectly. He
23 years old, another young part of the core that could have been for LA. So
how do you feel if you are Dalton Connect?
Awkward.
Yeah, like
I mean, I'm excited that I don't have to play basketball in Charlotte. Like, I'm
Yeah.
okay. I'll come off the bench in LA. I'll take Bronny's minutes, and
Yeah.
you know, I get to play with these guys. I feel okay about it. I mean, you just got to get over it. I know that's a horrible thing to say, but you're in the NBA. You're back on the Lakers. You're back playing with Luka and LeBron. Austin Reeves. You don't have any pressure on you. Just go play.
for sure. So obviously, I think we both agree the Lakers are like the biggest winner at the deadline, right?
Unless you talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers.
So I was going to say the Cavs are actually the third biggest winner.
Who are you at the
So
second?
do you want to go to the second?
Go to the
I
second.
think that Fox-Wemby combo is amazing. I think that it's way better than people think. I think people don't know how good De'Aaron Fox is because Sacramento just like had the 1 year where they really made a real run, and then now they're just like kind of an NBA purgatory every year. But like that dynamic with those two and being able to keep all the other pieces that they basically kept, I really think that they are an off-season move away next year from being like right at the top of the West, like with OKC and with Denver. Wemby's the most dynamic player in the league.
Best defensive player in the league.
Wemby and SGA are the only guys, we talked about this before, the only guys in the league that if I was owning a team that I wouldn't trade for Luka. Like those are the only two where I'm like, all right. Like
Cleveland fans, I'm putting Evan Mobley on my
that's
list.
fair. That's
so
fair. And Mobley's like right there. But those are the only two, like even like the Giannis's, the Tatum's, like I'm trading for Luka. But I just think Fox, Wemby, you're one piece away. Obviously Pop's like, who knows how many years he has left, but you have a dude who is like the only guy who I can kind of relate to Mobley on the defensive end, except he's probably somehow better, which is insane. And then he can do more offensively, and then Fox is just going to dribble drive all game. Like he did it. Look at how good Sabonis was feeding off of him, let alone how good Wemby's going to be. So I think they're the second biggest winners behind the Lakers, but I do want to.
I like the Fox trade going to San Antonio. San Antonio's got a lot of good things going for, like you said, Wemby. Stephen Castle has been playing really well over the last 10 to 15 games. Devin Vassal's been solid. I wonder how much. I think they need to make sure to watch out how much Fox dominates the ball to not hurt the development of the other guys around. I think that's interesting.
I'm like, let Fox dominate the ball because I don't want Chris Paul to dominate the ball. That's like kind of where I'm at. So
I think they're a winner, but I got to go Cleveland number 2 because you were saying how you think San Antonio is one more piece away, right?
Yeah, we might be number.
But the Cleveland Cavaliers may have gotten that piece to win an NBA title. And you look at the Cavs roster, you're either 6'2", 6'3", or you're 6'11" or 7 foot. So getting that true 6'8" wing who shoots 40% from 3, shoots well from the mid-range, can finish at the rim. Yeah, he's not as great of a rebounder for his size, and you think he should be an okay passer. But he is a great on-the-ball defender. Like, he can guard on the ball. Struggles a little bit in the pick and roll, but he's good on the ball. I think, this opens up a lot of opportunity for the Cavs. Like, think of a lineup where you can go, super athletic. You can go Mobley, Wade, Hunter, Okoro, and either Garland or Mitchell. Now you have this really big lineup. You could even experiment with a monster big lineup going Allen, Mobley, Wade, Hunter, and one of the guards.
Yeah.
Like, you could start to see some of the old, when we had Markkanen, those bigger lineups. And I think
what a perfect coach to figure that out. Like, I would trust nobody more than Kenny to figure it out.
And he can come off the bench. He did. He actually has incentives to win Sixth Man of the Year. I don't know if that's something the Cavs will say, okay.
I don't think they will.
You think they'll start him?
I think they'll start him.
See, I was
eventually,
wondering,
maybe not like in the first couple weeks, but
I was wondering if you wanted him to come off the bench to bring some juice to the bench guys.
I just don't think that's him. I think the juice of the bench guys is the Ty Jeromes and
Max Strus.
Well, Strus would be turned into that guy.
Yeah.
Like even Okoro when he comes back defensively. Like I think we have enough of those dudes. I think our whole team is that. Like everybody who comes off the bench is kind of like that random spark plug. Like
Jalen Tyson played well in
Tyson's starting to play
Washington.
better. Obviously, like we don't want to rely on like our team is so good that like hopefully we're not looking at Tyson playoff minutes, But I completely agree with you. I think that I said before, the only other realistic, and you were explaining to me the apron and how it's kind of unrealistic. Cam Johnson was the only other guy I wanted like more than DeAndre.
Yeah.
But I do think that he's just so overlooked because of Atlanta and all this shit. But like damn, for like what we need for like, we're preparing for Boston.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Like he can switch out on both those guys. So can Okoro. So can Dean. Like you can play around for what matchup is working that game, and like that's where you have to trust your coach. But now to me, I don't know what else Kobe could have realistically done other than like get a Durant or get like something crazy.
And there's no way that was happening.
Yeah, you're just right. So.
I think like let's recap the trade. We get DeAndre Hunter, and we traded to Atlanta, Karis LeVert, George Niang. We'll miss those guys.
Whatever.
And yeah, I think there was some seconds in there. So what didn't we trade? Well, we kept Jalen Tyson, which is a good developmental prospect on a cheap contract. And we got to keep our 2031 first round pick, which is big because you don't know what 2031 brings. Yeah. But then you mentioned the other aspect of this. By making these moves, the Cavs took on less salary for this year. Now, there's more salary we're taking on because LeVert is expiring. So there's more over the next 2 years. But we got under the luxury tax. And what's important at getting under the luxury tax is if you get really penalized in what moves you can make if you're in the luxury tax or the aprons 3 years out of a 5-year period. And that's huge because next year we're in it. Next year the payroll right now, even without signing Ty Jerome, is around $209 million because you have the Mobley extension kicking in. You now have Hunter's contract on the books, Mitchell's contract, Garland's contract, Allen's contract.
Yeah.
Like Strus makes $15 million. It's a loaded team. Credit to get Dan Gilbert. Thank you. So I think we're in this era of Cavalier basketball where they're shrewd. We got under the tax. They could legit win the NBA title. Like this was the missing piece.
Yeah. Like
Oklahoma City, you saw how they beat us when we went down there. They harassed our smaller guards. We've seen Boston do that a little bit. We saw Houston do that too. This is kind of the X factor to stop that, and it's really exciting. He can shoot, and one thing that Kobe Altman said was his release point's huge. A guy who can shoot a 3.68.
Yeah,
it's exciting.
Sure. Like you can't hop off of like Mitchell and Garland as aggressively. Right. Now you have 2 lob threats and a couple of other 3-point shooters on the other side to worry about, and plus those guys are just getting around everybody every night, like Garland and Mitchell are. So and Jerome for that.
And Jerome, we didn't even mention
elite.
Jerome and Hunter won a championship with a team called the Cavaliers.
I was telling Nick about how like there's no way Kobe didn't go to Ty Jerome and do a little digging on like how do you feel about
100%.
this guy? Like is he gonna fit with us? Because you could tell even when they talked to Jerome about like him coming over, he is ecstatic. He's just like he thinks like this is it. Like we are good to go. And then just to play devil's advocate for a little, the only thing that I see posing as like a big problem for us is what has always been a problem is you play those bullies, and if you run into like Mitchell Robinson type guys, Sengun is one somebody who stood out this year, gave us problems. Like those guys.
Well, they let him cheat too. That didn't
for
help.
sure. He like literally elbows you in the throat. But those guys who are relentless like that and they're just literally physical monsters is what we have trouble with. Mobley has gotten way more physical, but Allen's the same player. So I'm scared that Allen, runs into the same funk he does every single playoffs, and then he either gets bruised up and doesn't play, or he just underperforms. But if he plays the way he has in the last 2 regular seasons, we're in phenomenal shape. But that's like where I wish Tristan was 3 times as better as he was, because like he's like we need somebody like that.
What about the buyout market? A couple of guys got released recently. Like a couple of names that come to my mind: Mo Bamba. Big 7-footer, athletic. The other name, a little more under the radar, who got released by Oklahoma City, and I was a little surprised by this, Daniel Tice.
Like, Tice is like a good one.
Big guy, can shoot a little bit.
Like, he's too good, but like Hartenstein. Like, I think of those kind of guys.
Hartenstein makes life another year.
I know, but like those like just Jonas Valanciunas, Steven Adams, like the guys where you're only like I know I'm not giving up an offensive rebound on this position.
Right, because you're gonna bully.
That's all I'm looking for.
So I would be really interested to see us go after a Tice or a Bamba. Probably I prefer Tice,
I prefer Tice.
But like, and because we got enough under the luxury tax, we can sign a guy on a vet minimum and bring them in. So, like, there can be another move made by the Cavaliers.
We're at the point where like people want to come now, so it's like it's sweet.
We're sweet. We just got it. We're gonna get them. And hopefully, like another thing we were talking about, the Ty Jerome contract situation. He's a free agent. Cavs, based on the rules, I won't get into it because I don't want to bore the audience. We can essentially offer him a deal starting at about $11.4 million. Only one team has cap space in the NBA this summer, and that's the Nets. I doubt they put that kind of money into a guard. how many other teams are going to use their mid-level exception for Jerome? Like, there's a real possibility that this also helps open up bringing Ty Jerome back, which, we would love to have him back.
I feel like that dude is legit special. Like, his biggest thing is, like, staying healthy, but how I felt about him ever since we had our LeVert Jerome debates.
But LeVert got us Hunter.
Yeah, LeVert did give us Hunter, so he did something Jerome couldn't do.
Expiring contracts.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, though, Niang, LeVert, those guys contributed a lot over the last 3 years. They're a part of the really great culture that the Cavaliers have built.
You feel bad.
I feel bad that they can't be a part of this run,
especially LeVert. I feel way more bad about LeVert because he was here during ups and downs and all that.
And also, he sacrificed by coming off the bench when he was normally a starter.
Switched his style of play.
Exactly.
He became a way bigger passer, instead of a tunnel vision guy. So it sucks in that regard, but you got to win it all, dude. You can't. You probably have 2 chances in these next 2 years without having to worry about much, just retaining your own guys and maybe little pieces here and
a
there.
lot of championship teams have had to make tough trades. Big trades like the Bulls era. They had to trade for Scottie Pippen. They had to trade up in the draft to get him. I'm thinking of
the Warriors traded for Kevin Durant.
No, they didn't.
He signed on free agent.
It might have been technically
they signed him.
Yeah, because the cap went up.
I know.
That was BS. I'm thinking about the Pistons. I forgot who they brought in. I forgot if they traded for Lambeer or the other big guy, but they made bigger trades too. You just sometimes have to do it.
I mean, did they do it? Was it last offseason when the Celtics got Porzingis, or was it 2?
I think it was 2 offseasons ago.
2 offseasons ago. Yeah. But
they did it. They traded for Derek White.
Yeah.
You got to make sometimes these kind of deals.
For sure. Drew Holiday.
Cleveland Cavaliers, Channing Frye. Everyone got pissed when we traded Varejao. Channing Frye was huge in that Toronto series to take us to the title. Now he didn't play against the Warriors, matchup issues, but he got us there.
That's a great point. Yeah. No, for sure.
So, you want to talk about something a little more sad?
Yeah, we'll talk about Miles.
This is the Browns segment. So if you'd like to turn this off, we don't blame you. Myles Garrett, the big news, he has requested a trade. He wrote this very nice letter and also has been doing, and this is part that bothers me, doing the radio circuit, going on every radio show in sight and saying how he wants to, leave Cleveland because he wants to win now, and even joke about how he would fit on the Commanders. Look, I'll just say it. I don't mind him demanding a trade. This organization has wasted too many seasons under him. I don't like the radio circuit. I just don't. But what are your thoughts?
I mean, I agree. It's there's both sides, right? I would say 100% of Browns fans that are legit Browns fans, immediate reaction was we saw that coming. Yeah, we're waiting for that.
Take us with you, buddy.
Yeah, it sucks, but whatever. I hate the radio thing. I honestly didn't even mind the little shot at Barry and his little statement. But I hate the fawning and all that. It's one of those things if you don't want to be here, I don't want you here. I feel like that with all our teams and all of our sports. But something with Miles is a little different. He's the guy. It was always him, and it was at one point him, Baker, and Chubb were kind of the 3 faces, So then he's just rare times where he's ever in trouble or anything like that.
Except when he hit the
helmet incident, and there's the one car accident and stuff like that. But for the most part, 8 years, he is what you want in a number 1 pick. I still argue with people on Watt versus Miles because of how much I like him.
Garrett has more playoff wins than Watt, so
that's actually insane. Because they always just bring up stats, and I'm well, he's not getting doubled. Whatever. That's a whole different conversation. But it sucks because it's also you're kind of in this space where it feels like you are set up in a good time to trade him because of where you're at in the draft and Abdul Carter being there at 2 and having here's before anything, I'm not trading him just to because he asked for it. Look what happened with Njoku.
I have to get a big haul.
This maybe I'm being unrealistic or crazy, but my mind goes to if you're not starting with 3 first-round picks, don't call me.
Right, I need that is what I was about to say. I need 3 firsts.
I need 3 firsts. Then we can have a conversation.
Or 2 firsts and a good player.
Yeah, then we could talk. But at the end of the day, you're probably trading him to a team that's already good. So your draft pick's going to be a lower pick. If it was a Chiefs or a Lions or something like that, what are we getting back? Why am I trading him to the AFC so I could see him once every year and try to go through him? So there's so many things that go into it. I want to keep him. Like, I know it's like the unpopular, like, it doesn't make sense because you're just going to waste this too. I don't agree with that. Like, I just watched the Commanders get one quarterback and go from like the worst team in the league to like a couple possessions away from a Super Bowl. There's every year.
Do you think that quarterback is there at 2? I mean, I know you talked about Abdul Carter, but do you take a swing on a Cam Ward? I think Cam Ward's going
No,
one.
but I
Do you take a swing on Shadur Sanders?
57 reports today about Aaron Rodgers, and I know nobody likes him the way I do, but I feel like Aaron Rodgers has still got it. Like, he's got enough to where like he could have a rejuvenation here. But that's your bridge quarterback, and then you guys do your studies and get whoever you want it to. But like, at least like I can get through these 2 years and like not just think about the fact that we have a bum out there and not Deshaun and not Baker and not that. Because to me, Rodgers is the only guy. Like, Cousins doesn't do it for me.
No.
Like, all those guys just don't do it for me.
What about Geno Smith?
He doesn't do it for me.
Okay.
It's just like, cool. Like, I might win 9 games or 10 games, but like, I don't trust Geno. Like, if we're in Arrowhead and like I'm trying to beat Mahomes in the fourth quarter, like, hell no. Like, so I want. It's just not.
I mean, if we got to that point, we'd be like, wow, this.
I know, it'd be like a good turnaround. But I do think Stefanski gets a bad. Like, I'm a Stefanski guy, and I'm not a Barry guy.
I'm a huge Stefanski guy.
I'm a big Stefanski guy. I'm anti-Barry, but like I do think he gets kind of a bad rap because of Deshaun's outcome or whoever. But like, he is elevated every day.
Well, the problem is they changed the offense for Deshaun. They went away from what works.
What he wants.
Yeah, the wide run zone scheme where you do play action, you bootleg, you get the defense off its feet. Like, if you watched the Browns last year, it was, now we're in shotgun, incomplete, or we're stuffed for a 1-yard gain. It's so hard to effectively run at the NFL level out of the shotgun. Like, this isn't college. Like, you need to have the quarterback under center, have the running back go downhill and play action or give him the ball, like what Nick Chubb used to do, and find the holes and get 5 yards and run it again.
Yeah.
Like, and we're Cleveland, Ohio. Like, we shouldn't be a shotgun team, especially unless you have an elite quarterback. So I think going back to the original offense will be a big boost for whoever is behind center.
So do you think if he gets traded, he's traded before April?
Yeah.
And do you think he gets traded?
I think they should trade him.
You think they should?
I think... I know we talked about Washington, going... I don't know if I see that here.
But, like, all right, let me play the bad side to it. Now you have Barry, who I don't trust.
You don't trust him getting a quarterback.
I don't trust him getting anything. So if you have Barry, I mean, I didn't trust him, like Jedrick Wills. He has a history of like yeah, cool. You got like Jerry Jeudy and like, these random guys, but like his draft history is worse. It's more bad than good. So let's say you get Miles and you get 3 firsts. For me, that triggers me to being like, okay, well, then why do we have Njoku? Buy Njoku. Why do we have Ward? Buy Ward.
Oh, no, if you're trading Miles, there's a domino effect. You're trading...
Yeah. All hell's breaking loose.
Yeah.
So now you have 300 picks and Andrew Barry in charge, and I'm like, this is gonna suck. Like, and I don't... So it's just like, am I just gonna stay in Cavs and guards mode for 2 years and just like wait for these guys? Or do you just like try to do what like all the winning organizations do, and it's like win every year?
I mean,
and not like,
hopefully in theory, the Cavs take us to June, Guardians pick up,
Yeah.
Guardians take us to late October, Cavs pick back up.
Outrageous.
And I love the Browns, like, that. I go to a lot of the games, but man, this year was tough.
miserable.
Like, not even like, oh, that young player looked really... Nope.
Yeah.
It's just...
Miserable.
The only bright spots were, obviously Miles, not anymore because he wants out, but Jerry Jeudy, having a career year.
Jameis is a cool guy.
Jameis is cool.
Jameis is a cool guy. Let's have Jameis as our backup.
I would be interested just to see how he would run Stefanski's offense. Because I really think that's going to be huge for this team. Like, because every
Better than Deshaun.
every defense knew, oh, they're going to shotgun, they're going to throw it.
Yeah.
Like, and we did it like 65% of the time. Like, get more to 50-50, run the ball.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just frustrating.
It is. They suck.
We love them.
Cavs mode, though.
Think you can't go over.
What are we missing?
I think that's it.
That'd be nice.
Yep. Super Bowl. You want to talk Super Bowl, even though
we can talk
everyone will
Super
hear this after the game?
Yeah.
Who you got, Johnny?
Do you remember our Super Bowl talks last year? You were like, the Chiefs are out in the first round, in the second round.
Yes, because they lost to an Aiden O'Connell-led Raiders team late in the regular season.
And you were like, because like Kadarius Toney or whatever his name is, like went off sides a couple times. Like that's like literally why people were saying that they were out. So for me, I want the Eagles to win, and it has nothing to do with I think I love Travis Kelce, I love Mahomes, like I actually love Andrew Reid. I like the makeup of the Chiefs. There's something about when history is like done. I want my team to do it. So like
Look,
like,
we literally just talked about trading our best player.
I know. But like with anything, like I don't know. I do think there's a lot of like I'm a big Jalen Hurts fan. The Eagles have
I love Saquon. I think Saquon's
I love
tremendous.
Saquon. I'm not like a huge. I don't like the Eagles, like the franchise per se, but like I do like to see the people get rewarded that I feel like need to get rewarded, and that's Saquon and Hurts. And then don't really care about what's his name, what's their coach's name, Sirianni.
Yeah.
Like I don't really care about like their whole dynamics or stories, but I think the Chiefs win. I think that I hope
All of that. I think the Chiefs.
I think the Chiefs win. I hope I'm wrong, but they're just too
Some
much.
kind of like 27-24 game where they march down the field.
Yeah.
6 minutes to go, they methodically kick the ending field goal.
Yeah.
And, they've done it all year. I do think this game, the Eagles, they got A.J. Brown, Saquon. I think they could really challenge the Chiefs. We'll say. I think the Chiefs do win.
Their defense is better than we think, and if it's like it has to be a Saquon show to me, because if they can control the clock, keep it out of Mahomes' hands, and not just like give him the whole first half to kind of warm up, and then now it's like a 13-10 ugly first half.
Yeah.
Like if it's one of those, like the Chiefs won. Like to me,
Oh, yeah.
it's like it's over. But
If this game's close to the fourth quarter, it's over.
Yeah.
Like it has to be the Eagles
which is so
jump on
annoying.
them.
But he's like so good. He's
No
just
one,
so
no
good.
one does it better than Mahomes.
I
man.
read the Mahomes like Brady comparisons, and honestly, if he wins this one, it's like it's nuts. Like it because he has him beat in every category at his age, like every single one. If he wins this one, so I could see it happening. He's the only guy I've ever seen.
I love that this happens in our conference.
Of course.
Like, hey, one dynasty and another one begins.
Yeah. 100%.
All right,
Anything else?
that's it. Good to be back, man.
Yes.